You know, money might not be everything, but it has a funny way of revealing everything. It shows up in friendship, in business, in relationships, even in the quiet moments when decisions have to be made. Financial compatibility isn't just a relationship thing, it's a life thing. It's not about who has more, it's about who understands money the way you do. Do they see it as security or as freedom? As a means to build or as something to blow once it lands? Because truth is, you can love someone, respect a friend, or even admire a business partner, but if your money mindset doesn't align, tensions will always find a way in. When two people or teams see money through the same lens, that's when the real magic happens. There's trust, there's balance, there's peace. So tonight, we'll be talking about it. Do you think financial compatibility should be a top priority in love, in friendship, in family, and even in business? Or are we just overrating this money talk? I think the guys on the table have the answers to this question. Now, I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and he's been having issues in his marriage.
Wow.
And yes, meanwhile, let me just clarify this. Financial compatibility is not just about relationships or marriage or whatever, but I just want to lead with this. He's been having issues with his marriage, and the basic and major problem they have is finances. He says to me, I love my wife. I love her so much. But when it comes to certain aspects of things, I am living above my budget. So I am stretched. I'm forcing myself to go out of my means to do everything extra. And, you know, at the end of it all, I asked him a question. I said, bro, was there any time in your your dating era or whatever, in your courtship, that you guys talked about finances? And he said, no, I never really thought that it was going to be this difficult. Now you've got kids, you've got bills, you've got responsibilities. Now it is stretching your situation, which comes with, a lot of baggage. So now, the term financial compatibility, is it one of the things that determine how successful, you are as a man, or how long you get to live as a man?
Let me just say, one of the things I've said this here before. Again, I don't know what people do in this relationship and they're courting. Most of the time, they're always just having flimsy conversations. If you intend to spend the rest of your life with somebody, obviously the conversation of finance should have come up, right? So we talk a lot about love languages, we talk a lot about emotional compatibility, but finance really and truly does make or break your relationship, especially if you're not aligned on certain things, right? So some people want a trad wife. Traditional
What's
wife.
Trad
So
wife?
a trad wife is, she cooks, she takes care of the kids, she does everything, fine. And then you go out, you fend for the family. That's fine. It's 2025, everybody should do what they like, right? But the point of the conversation is, while you're doing what you like, you have to make sure you are aligned with your partner. And that's why
realities.
And the realities. And that's why you have the conversation. In the home I grew up in, my dad handled all the capital projects. My mom handled the domestic things. Anything that had to do with food or even redecorating the house, my mom did all of that. My dad paid all the school fees, paid the rent,
house bills, everything.
Built the house, all those. So you have to have that conversation.
So the structure.
There has to be a structure. There has to be a process to how these things are done. Relationships are not la-di-da. You have to have a real plan, especially when you're married. And that's why the courtship period is very important. You have all these conversations and you break this down. This is what you're bringing to the table. This is what you're bringing. There's a cider budge out there who wants a man to be spending 20 million naira on the club on Friday night. And to be fair, that's her decision. So if you step to her, you have to come prepared to deliver what she wants, right? Also, as a guy, I blame a lot of men most times. They ruin the whole thing for us. You go there and you start the whole relationship as Odogu, and then you get offended when you can't complete and she keeps asking you for money. That's the tone.
That's your fault.
That's your fault because you set that tone from the beginning, right? So you can say whatever you like about, okay, maybe women don't want to work or women want to work, but they also want men to take care of them. But nobody forces you to be in a relationship with those kind of women. Find the one that works for you. That's my salvo on that.
All right, thanks. Deck, sorry.
You pointed at me and said Deck.
No, I was thinking Deck should go first, but I think Gang, you want to share a few things with us on that?
Okay. I don't know how to articulate this, but I'll just say it however it comes out. I share a lot of concern when relationships have been monetized.
Friendships, businesses.
Relationships, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's been monetized. For example, what Moyo said now, his dad did this, his dad did that, his dad did that. Is that compatibility per se when he was bearing the burden of covering everything financial?
No, that's not what I said.
I'm getting
okay,
somewhere.
okay.
And you know, most men, not all, but most men, if they are financially stable, they don't care what a woman brings to the table. Most men.
I think that's
that's a
different.
main issue.
Wait, I'm
That's
getting somewhere. So,
different, yeah.
so most men really don't care. Financial, you said financial compatibility.
Yeah.
A man that is financially stable, that is secure, that has everything on lock, sometimes really doesn't care about what she has or what she's doing because everything is sorted. You get me? So things have been monetized to the point that I come from a place whereby if there's no money involved, can your relationship still stand? In my marriage, now here's the thing. I say this, my wife is like Jesus Christ. They have one thing in common. They both save. I'm a spender. When I get money, once I get money in my hands, my wife knows that you want this, what do we need in that? What do we know? I'm spending. She's the saver. You get me? So I think we're compatible in that area. I can bring the bread, she can help save the bread. And so the amount that's with me, I'm going to scatter, I'm going to ball, I'm going to go all out, I'm going to do whatever. She knows that certain things need to be sorted here and there. So it's not about if she has or not. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I think we're compatible. But sometimes in relationships, some women are full-time housewives. They have nothing that they're doing or they're bringing to the table.
Whose fault is that?
It's what works for you works for you.
Exactly.
What works for you works for you. If the man is the breadwinner and he brings everything, if the woman brings a certain amount, you're not comparing that I've done this. Find a way to make it work for you. And there's something that I want to take a cue from what Dex said from our previous conversation, foundations, which comes to what Moyo was saying, how your relationship started and the discussions you have had. By the time you meet a girl in the club,
That's right.
and that is your foundation. If it works for you, it works. If it doesn't work for you,
All right, on this
you
note,
go.
before you come in, I would like to hear from Rebecca. Rebecca, now we're talking about financial compatibility, which is something that is arguably one of the biggest issues people have in relationships generally.
three.
I'm not just talking about marriages or friendships or businesses. I mean, generally.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts over that?
It's a spicy topic for sure. Financial compatibility is probably top 2 in terms of topics when it comes to the success of a relationship.
Yeah.
I actually have a lot to say. One of the things that I disagree with is that it's the guy's fault for presenting that he could take care of all these different things. I actually think that we need to be prepared for seasons where finances change. And so it's up to the woman to love and respect the man enough to still be considerate of his finances when things change. If we just expect that things to be perfect constantly, year in and year out, then we're setting ourselves up for failure. Now, one of the things I love that, someone asked, or I think you started it off with, they never talked about finances. Please talk about finances.
Yeah.
In my relationship, partner and I, we knew that we liked each other the first time we talked. We still waited a full year because we knew that we weren't financially where we wanted to be to start a family. And then after that year, we dated for 2 years, or we knew each other for 2 years before even dating. After that first year, he called me and he told me, gave me a scenario about a friend that was in another country and having financial issues with his spouse. It was kind of our way of testing how do we respond, what are our values around money and marriage. And I love that he did that because I got to hear his point of view and also hear his vulnerability. And then I also got to share my point of view, and it also cultivated that intimacy long before we started dating. So now inside of the marriage, which I will say for all relationships, it's so important that friendship be first, because there's going to be seasons where one is, high and the other is, supportive
Low,
and vice
yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
And that needs to be an understanding between both parties at all times in any season.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Dec, what are your thoughts on what Rebecca just shared?
Well, I mean, all the submissions have been very, very interesting and very, educative. And I'll take a moment to take a few things from Moyo and Rebecca, as well as Gang. First, I'd like to talk about foundations. I don't know exactly why it is that I'm talking about
You love
foundations
a good
today,
foundation, don't
but
you?
the truth
Engineer.
I swear.
I know why.
But the
You
builder.
build on the new home.
but the,
And his name is Deck, not foundation.
but the truth is, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to invest your time or your energy in, you must understand that a good foundation is what cuts it, right? Now, if you have an understanding with your partner, all right, and you have a good conversation that bothers around everything, not just finances, but absolutely everything, then of course you're setting yourself for something good or bad, depending on how good the conversation was, right? For me, before I met my wife, the person who I was dating prior to, meeting my wife was literally, permit me to say the word, a leech. Literally. I literally was doing everything so much that when we broke up and I met my wife, I almost didn't understand what it meant for a woman to take care of a man.
Was that why you were losing so much weight back in the day?
Yes, part of it. Because so let me tell you how crazy this was. I was making so much money when I was with this person I was talking about, and I realized that the bulk of my money was going to her family members. In fact, I was building their
servicing
I was
the
building their
relationship.
moms, their dads, their family home
Deck.
with my money. No.
my
And that's the bro. Let me say this, and I'll say this because it wasn't a problem at the time. Like I said, I was making good money.
Because you didn't know otherwise, yeah?
All right?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize. And like my mom said, and I quote my mom said that a photo jenye oma bija de
You must
Bro, you go chop a four. What the? You go chop a four. Bro, guys, you know what that is?
And you know what happened? Let me tell you what happened. This is true life story, right? And I realized, right? And I remember that I broke up with her and I went for a wedding and I was literally crying at that wedding at God. How long do I want to continue to do this? I want to meet somebody who I'm going to get married to. And the interesting part was my wife also cried to God that this is the wedding I'm going to meet the person I'm going to
you
get
cried
married
at the
to.
same wedding?
Let me tell you how crazy this
What
was.
a great meet cute.
This what I'm telling you is real life story.
Amazing.
My wife literally caught the bouquet at the wedding.
That
She
you
was-
were at?
Yes, I anchored the wedding. She was the chief bridesmaid. She caught the bouquet. I jokingly proposed to her on the stage, jokingly,
Look at God.
bro. And we actually got married. But let me tell you one thing I realized about my wife.
I love
You
this
see,
movie.
what you must
fucking
understand is this, and this is not just for
love it,
women, it's also for men. It doesn't matter. Look, you see that social construct where they say that it's the man that is supposed to provide. Nobody said that. There is no law that says that
And it's
the
not
man
even in
must
the Bible,
provide.
by the way.
Nobody said that. Anybody that is able to provide
You
should
have to be
provide.
resourceful.
Yeah.
A pastor came in from the UK, came in my house, and we're praying, and then after he prayed, he asked my wife. He said, "Look, if your husband at some point doesn't have a job, can you take care of the house without grumbling?" Listen, can you take care of the house without grumbling? He didn't say, "Can you take care of the house?"
Wheat to the grumbling.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can take care of the house, yes, but I can be grumbling. I'm the one taking care of the house. But can you take care of the house without grumbling? And that's essentially why one of the major problems with Nigerian couples when they travel is finance.
Exactly. Yeah.
The moment the wife begins to make money, she begins to carry shoulder.
No, but
do you understand what I'm saying?
There's also men being insecure
Men also,
with their wives
yes,
making
that's
more
why
money.
I said that it doesn't matter
Yeah.
the gender. It doesn't matter whether it's the husband
agree. I
or
agree.
the wife. What is very crucial is that we understand ourselves. That's why I said I want to take something from Gang. We must look, if you understand yourself, if you're able to communicate with one another
Yeah.
and agree with yourselves, I can bet it with you, you have a sweet life.
That's right.
Deck,
Because
That's it.
understanding comes from
I totally get
communication.
you.
That's true.
But I want to take a bit of social media.
Yes, please.
And then after that, I wanted to try something different, which is like imagine a situation where men and women are truly honest about finances. So we'll get there. And please,
Bro,
Rebecca, you mommy.
I'm so sorry, bro. Do you know that there are men who believe that I can't tell my wife what I make? She can't know what I earn.
Yes, that's why I said if men and
There
women
are
were
men who
honestly,
told me that, guy, no tell your wife, she must not know this.
Yeah.
You see, that's why a lot of men don't. You see, I don't know why people think like this, but there's a way I think all right? I'm a very preemptive person, right? What would you prefer? And I'm going to throw this out to everybody. And Rebecca, this goes to you as well. Would you prefer a man, or would you prefer a man that cares about making sure that you grow in life financially, or a man that does not care whether or not you grow financially and only cares about himself growing financially? What is the difference and
There are
why?
a lot of dangers to what you've said.
I would prefer a
feel-
man that.
Come on, let's have it. Let's
You
have
didn't
it.
get the joke.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it.
Question mark. All right. On that note, I need to quickly take the social media comments. We'll be starting with our Ninja Scholar. Our Ninja Scholar says, another ASU strike again.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
again,
Brother,
with a
man.
question mark. My younger sister started a 4-year course in 2018, and she's still in school. How are we supposed to plan our lives like this? Hashtag ASU strike. It's a 2-week strike. Let's see how that plays out after
My
that.
goodness.
Then at Lagos Badi says, honestly, ASU strike used to pain me as a student. Now that I'm working, I realize those lecturers deserve better. Imagine teaching in those conditions for peanuts.
Exactly.
Well said, Lagos at Lagos Badi. And we have Atunde for real. Atunde for real says, let's be honest, ASU strikes don't solve anything.
Thank you.
Students lose time, lecturers still go back to the same old system. We need reform, not repetition. Brilliant, Tunde
True.
for real, brilliant. And then we have the real Chuka. The real Chuka says, if you like someone who thinks budget is a bad word, just know you're dating stress. Woo!
Exactly.
Wow.
Unless you can afford
That
the
one
stress.
went- that one went in.
That's why you need to know
If you
who
can
you're
afford the
dating.
stress- Yeah,
that's why you
exactly.
must understand who you
Exactly.
are. And this
Exactly.
is not just for the women. It's also for men. Do you know that there are men who are also very crazy?
Okay, so we still have more tweets
But sorry,
from here.
real quick, Olamide, I have a question that's pondering on my mind.
I can't answer the question.
No, I don't expect an answer, but when you're talking about compatibility,
Yeah.
to an extent, are you saying the rich should marry the rich?
No, I'm talking
no.
about
So those that-
understanding,
so they're opening-
understanding their
So we're
Understand your
opening
financial
the
reality
issue of
as a couple.
compatibility as a couple, just man and woman.
It could be the woman who's 70%
minimal, yeah.
or the man 30%, but do you have some form of understanding?
Big question.
do you know that?
Big question
Because,
now.
bro,
She's earning
because I
70%.
like what you
Let's
said.
say
Let me tell you
she's
why I
earning
asked. Let me tell you why I
70%
asked,
more than
because
you.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
like when people talk about things you bring to the table, which is a very sensitive conversation for some people, you might not have finances.
Let me throw you a
Do you
question.
understand? But your relationship
Bro,
can work.
let me throw a question back to you.
Your
quickly.
relationship can work.
Gang, let me throw a question back to you quickly. Do you know how many rich people, like rich marrying rich, how many of those relationships last?
Well, I don't think
don't have the facts.
Because that's not the basis of the relationship.
We stated,
You
we stated
understand?
from the beginning. This
Yeah.
is not just a relationship thing.
It's not just a
relationship thing. It's and the reason why it's financial compatibility could be with your friends, could be with people that when you go out you feel like they are leeches.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
they're people that you feel like you can take to the next level with, and all of that. But I'm going to return back to the
Yes,
the
please.
social media messages we have at I am Tonya. She writes. I am Tonya. Right says. Olamide, love is sweet, but poverty will test your grammar.
That's very
Financial
correct. That is very correct.
compatibility might not be romantic, but it's necessary. And I
Yeah.
think most people should face reality when
be
it comes
lying.
to that. Gentle Mufe says, people say money isn't everything. True, but check the divorce reasons list. Money issues, they
the
top
list.
3
Yeah, it's one of the top
steady.
3, yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, we have at Crypto Uncle, and he says, two broke people in love can build together, but two financially reckless people, disaster loading.
Yeah.
Amazing. I
That's
think it's
very
a financial
correct.
recklessness.
That last statement.
I think
That is
that's
very
where,
correct.
because you must know how to save, you must know how to manage your finances.
Bro, have you
That's
heard of the
real
saying?
thing.
Have you
Yeah.
heard of the saying that behind every successful man is a woman?
Okay.
And I also want to add to that, behind
know
every
what-
successful woman
Do you know what it
is
means?
a great man.
Oh, yeah.
Is a
no,
great man.
no. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about that saying.
And
regardless of how you put it.
behind every woman.
Bro, do you know do you know what it means?
You know what?
Do you know what it means? Behind every successful man is
Yeah.
a woman, right? What that means is that behind every successful man is an understanding, patient, and prudent woman.
Preach.
Yes. it's
Wonderful,
important.
wonderful. So on the show, of course, you all know the ritual, the traditions, which is we do the toast of the week and, of course, just the tip. And today, we have a woman, Rebecca, our guest. She's going to be giving us just the tip for this evening. And hopefully it's something that, resonates strongly. Rebecca, so what are your thoughts on tonight's show, all the things we've discussed? And, you have just the tip. Normally, we don't give it to the women, but tonight you've got just a tip.
You deserve it, Rebecca, by the way.
You've earned the tip.
I'm so honored. Thank y'all so much for having me. It's been a lovely conversation, a very rich conversation. The tip for tonight is honestly, some people just need to break up. If you haven't had the conversation, if the foundation needs to be.
I will personally toast to you,
Yeah.
Rebecca. Rebecca, this is to
You
you.
need to break up and
to let
pray
it
for
go,
the kind
baby.
of favor that my guy Deck had for another opportunity at something beautiful. But if it's not working,
High
you
five to
guys
that.
are not
Bruh.
Save
Rebecca,
yourself.
Rebecca, this week we are toasting to you.
We're toasting to you, Rebecca.
That's right.
Rebecca,
Cheers to you, Rebecca.
And I'll tell you why we're toasting to you, because
Thank you so much.
we
God
need
bless y'all
more
too.
women like you. By the way, Rebecca, you're the first woman on this show that did not argue with any of the men.
Yeah.
Yes, ever. Ever. The first woman that did not argue with. Look, you gave us your points and they were absolutely fantastic. Cheers to Rebecca, guys.
Cheers.
All right,
Rebecca,
so
man.
Decca said it. Our
Thank
toast of
you.
the week
I'm glad. I
goes
was
to.
nervous. I thought y'all were gonna go hard on me, but I'm glad we agreed
No,
on
no,
that.
no, no,
Yes.
no, Rebecca. I think you came from a very well informed,
Absolutely.
Well-rounded.
Absolutely.
so thank
your
you.
I can tell your husband is enjoying. There's no
He
way.
is.
Thank you very much. It's been such an exceptional edition of the Black Table. Thank you, Deck, for being the navigator and premium MC.
Thank you.
And of course,
Thank you for
to my
having me.
man Moyo.
That's right.
Moyo of Lagos.
Momo.
Radio man. Of course, to
Moyo.
one of the most celebrated men in radio.
Make
That's
way.
right. The
Yes,
one and
T-
only.
Gang. Gang has been doing radio for 100 years.
And I listened for 50 of those.
50 years listening to 10 Gang.
Yes.
All right.
Namaste.
All right, so thank you very much, of course, to all the viewers for joining us and watching us, and all the guys behind the scenes.
That's right.
The director, the producers, of course, the guys behind the cameras,
Our
and the
female
MTR.
producer, by the way.
Yeah. And of course, shout out to Okme. She's a woman.
OP.
Now, what most people don't know is that we've got two female producers on the show. That's Zainab and Okme, and they
Three.
do.
Miles.
Man.
I'm not going to join that, but they do
This
fantastically
bullet
well.
must reach you.
I hope he hears this.
Catching strays.
I'm gonna text him after this.
I'm going to do a
Bullet
toast
must
of the
reach you.
week to the amazing women behind the show, the women in the PCR, the women, doing such amazing work behind the scenes and make this show possible. Thank you all. Thank you all for being a part of the show. We will see you guys same time, same station next week. Till then, remember, the darker the night, the brighter the stars.
That's right.
It's the Black Table. Good night.
Good morning, guys.